Start, a college football podcast for everyone and everyone else. I'm your host, John Buhler, lead writer for Fansided. I'm joined today by a man who wanted to be a T-Rex more than anything in the world. He would allegedly run around the garden, chase the neighbor's cat, but he had to stop being a dinosaur and get a real job. But I'm telling you, don't lose your dinosaur. Cody Williams, content director, fansided.com. You're a human being. How are you?
That doesn't make any sense. You're a human man.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out a way that we can lead into our first and 15 today with some Joey Aguilar stuff, but that's one way to do it.
That's certainly one way to do it. God, what a good movie, man.
I know, man, it's unbelievable. And before we begin, be sure to give this thing a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere there's podcasts.
Don't hate on Buzzsprout, my new favorite thing in the world.
Don't hate on Buzzsprout, dude. Give us money on Buzzsprout too. $5,
Yeah.
$1, whatever.
Honest, we'll take a couple quarters, 50 cents. Let's go.
We'll take pennies on Bojangles.
Unlike Bojangles, we will take pennies.
I guess before we begin, I gotta say this. Had a fraternity brother whose nickname was Raptor Hands because when he would get drunk, he would do this with his hands. And I always say, "Don't lose your dinosaur." But the guy loved the rat race, so he did lose his dinosaur. That guy did everything on time, and I didn't. I sure felt it.
I still don't, quite frankly.
No, man, nothing breaks even. I just fall out of the car. That's how I only get out when it stops. I just get out.
But if we're gonna power rank virtues, punctuality's at the bottom. I don't care. Come when you come.
No, punctuality, brevity.
That's right.
It's our bag. And a guy who may have been punctual but was around for a very long time. Let's get started with our first and 15 today. With Pat the Doc, with Joey Aguilar's got to turn pro in something other than sports. He did not get his 8th year of eligibility. This is different in the wake of Trinidad Chambliss getting year 6 out of Ole Miss. I know you unpacked that on 2 episodes ago when you were flying solo like a cup. I'm not surprised that Aguilar didn't get it, but I do think it's interesting that we've got one case yes, one case no.
Yeah, I mean, obviously different circumstances in both of them. I was a little surprised just because, and I know he's not like the end all be all, but Feinbaum had said that he, based on what he was hearing, he expected Joey Aguilar, and Feinbaum is many things, and one of them is well connected. And I figured if he was hearing that there was probably some truth to that. So that's the only reason I was surprised. But I think Chambliss simply had a better case. I think that, I mean, we'll get to this, I'm sure, in a little bit. And I said it when I was solo like a cup. I think Tennessee's better off for this, quite frankly. Maybe not in the immediate, but long term, they're way better off for having this happen.
Yeah, because at this point, you can move forward. You can see what Martin Luther Staub can do,
That's
or
right.
our favorite George McIntyre the third.
Hmm.
And then they've also got the guy, I forget exactly what his name is, Faison. So we'll call him Donald Faison's cousin.
I can't remember what it is, but yeah, it's Faison something.
Petey.
Petey. It's Petey. Yeah.
That's his nickname. But this is probably good for Josh Heupel just to kind of move forward. And I think, I thought Aguilar played really well for Tennessee last year, but there's a ceiling to this, and maybe there will be the same thing with Staub and everything like that in the SEC. But why would you want to delay another year to see what GMAT can do?
That's exactly where I come down. It's one of those things where and from everything I've heard in Knoxville, they love Joey Aguilar. They liked his leadership. They liked what he was in the locker room. That's great and all. He's not that good of a football player. And I understand if there's hesitancy to turn to McIntyre because of how disastrously the Nico stuff went. I understand why there would be some hesitancy there. A lot of that was a Nico problem and not a starting a young quarterback problem. And I think also this is kind of an underrated factor in this. Vanderbilt's probably going to give Jared Curtis some looks this year. And if you're talking about Vanderbilt potentially surpassing Tennessee in the state of Tennessee, which I think is not an unrealistic possibility with where we currently stand, we're looking at a situation where Tennessee's kind of stuck trying to spin its wheels with veterans, whereas Vanderbilt's willing to take risk and go into a new era, just like they took a risk on Diego Pavia to bring him into the building. We saw how that paid out, and that would kind of really be the end all be all for what Vanderbilt and Tennessee is becoming.
Yeah, I don't think Tennessee can afford to lose to Vanderbilt in back-to-back years. You
No.
start losing the race in the state, and that's not good. In a state that like is so battle-tested, everybody recruits and poaches out of Tennessee, probably
Yeah.
because you share a border with like 10 states, man. It's
You're in the middle of all of it. All of
uh,
it.
so like here's two thoughts I had about this with regards to Aguilar and then or Tennessee with Aguilar, and then obviously tied with Chambliss with
Yeah.
Ole Miss. You're looking at effectively two transitional years for Josh
Mhm.
Heupel in Tennessee. Look, I think he's earned the benefit of the doubt, but Jimmy Haslam's a crazy person, and he's the biggest booster of his alma mater. So, and obviously, we know how awful Tennessee was for about 15 years in
Mhm.
between Heupel and before it hit the fan with Phil Fulmer and everything like that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you can necessarily afford 2 more years of this. Whereas with Ole Miss, I think getting Chambliss back puts some deodorant on a team that I think is going to pull back on Ole Miss, probably, maybe potentially. So at least Golding has that working for him.
No, 100%. And like it's going, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Ole Miss with this year looks a lot like 2024 South Carolina.
Right. Yeah.
Like never uncompetitive, but not quite good enough to be, in contention for a playoff spot. Like I wouldn't be surprised if that's the space they end up occupying.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair. Phone never cooperates, dude. Phone never cooperates for me. It just goes dark, just fades to black like Metallica. We talk about that. That's Tennessee's season, I guess.
100%, man. It really is.
But I mean, like we got two teams here that have made the playoff once in the
Hmm.
12 team era, and we'll talk about this here in just a little bit. I think there's one that I think could make the playoff, and the other one, maybe not so much.
Yeah, 100%. I think yeah. We'll agree on that for sure.
We'll agree on that here. Any other thoughts about this? I know Aguilar, I think the big thing here is I think he said he took a combine invite. And I think
Mhm.
with Chambliss, I think it was the NCAA apparently acted in bad faith with him having like tonsillitis or something.
Yeah. Like he only played 2 games his sophomore year at Ferris State after well, it was I guess it was his redshirt freshman year technically because he redshirted his freshman year. And so like he came into that season and was expecting to play, but it was essentially a medical redshirt that wasn't filed, is essentially what it came down to.
Okay, that makes a little more sense. And if Chambliss would have turned pro, he would have gotten drafted ahead of Joey Aguilar, and this is false start.
God, not even close, dude.
So on that note, I do think Aguilar gets drafted. I do think that there's something about him that works. I think he's like a sixth round pick kind of guy.
Oh yeah, he's sixth, seventh round pick. Like when you're talking like late 100s, early 200s, like that's Joey Aguilar range for sure. I mean, like let's be clear, this quarterback class isn't like special by any stretch of the
No.
imagination. Like there's reports that Cole Payton, the kid from North Dakota State, might be the like one of the top 3 QBs in this class. And I'm like, good God, if that's the place we're at, we need to have some conversations.
I mean, QB3, I thought by default had to be Garrett Nussmeier, but I guess not.
Dude, I don't know what's happening anymore. Like, I mean, it's QB3 is either Nussmeier or Beck for me. That's where I'm at.
Yeah,
Cole Payton is not QB2 or QB3.
nah. And we're still debating if Ty Simpson's a first round pick. I would venture to guess he probably will be, but
Yeah.
like it's
So we're gonna talk about my latest mock draft that came out on Sunday in the midweek show for us, but I have Simpson going to the Rams, and I think for the Rams specifically, he makes a ton of sense because he's obviously extremely talented. There are some warts and there's some development that needs to happen. Going and sitting behind a year or behind Stafford for a year in Sean McVay's system seems like a pretty good landing spot. And if you're the Rams, you get that 5th year option so you can take the time to develop him like that, as opposed to like if the Browns draft him, like that's a different scenario where he's probably playing week 1 and that's not particularly good.
is that with the Rams own pick or the Falcons pick?
That'd be the Rams own pick. Yeah, like 29.
So I mean, either way, like you have room to make it happen. So
100%.
like that's good, and we got room to make it happen here. Let's move on to our next topic here with Jim Moore Senior's favorite topic, playoffs. You're kidding me? Really
Oh,
got
that
that?
was you hit the voice crack there. That was good. That was good.
I'm so cooked, man. I'm so our way too early 12 team playoff brackets and first four teams out. Again, the way that this works is the only differences here are if you win your Power Four league, you get in. If Notre Dame finishes top 12, they're going to get in. You don't have to win your league in the group of five. You just have to be the highest ranked team. So that's
Mhm.
how that goes.
Yeah, 100%.
We probably have a lot of the same teams here. So I don't know. Let's have you start. Start right off a team or two, whatever you want to do, man.
No, I'll start off with yeah, we'll start off with the 12-5 matchup. We'll go there and then go to our like kind of go work our way down. But 12 I have Boise, just kind of by default. I haven't seen a group of five team that necessarily has separated itself, especially with a lot of the coaching turnover that we saw. And like, yeah, Boise might not have met expectations necessarily last year coming off the playoff berth. It was, you did pull back a little bit. They still had a damn good season. You know what I mean? And like still ended up in the Mountain West Championship game. So like, I don't think Boise's going anywhere. Whereas like, I don't know who's going to emerge from this other group of G5 contenders, G6, excuse me.
Yeah, G6, like a G6. Yeah, Boise's one of like about 6 or 8 G6 teams that can certainly do this. Most of them are going to be out west, whether that's in the Mountain West or the new Pac-12. Like
Yeah,
they're in a good spot. I have UNLV coming out of the Mountain West. That league's going to be really good next year.
they did lose the Whoopsie Daisy King, so I don't know.
They still got Dan Mullen
I
there.
know. I like UNLV. I was just, I had to shout out my guy, Clint Andrea.
Clandrea's going to Nebraska here. All right, let's move up. You want to? How do we make this more suspenseful? You want to work a last team in, or what do you want to go?
Yeah, let's just go 12-1. Let's just do it
Let's
that
go.
way.
All right.
So at 11, I have Texas A&M, my last team in. Go ahead. Who do you have?
I have Texas A&M at number 10.
Okay, nice. Who's your last team in then?
USA.
Okay, that's my number 10. So we just flip-flopped them.
Yeah, I'm of the belief basically seeds 9 through 11. There's about 6 or 8 teams in the SEC, Big Ten, maybe a few in the Big 12 or ACC that are vying for this.
Mhm.
Teams that I don't know if they made it a year ago, but like they're right there. They're going to be the ones jockeying for this. I went with USC because I think the schedule for them is a little bit easier than the fifth best Big Ten team, who I think their schedule is just brutal. We'll touch on that later.
Yeah.
And then with A&M, I think it's going to be kind of addition by subtraction with Colin Klein going to Kansas State. I think Marcel Reed's good. I think he's going to grow. He's pretty tight with the new OC Holman Wiggins
Yeah.
coming in. Plus Elko's in his bag, man. Like I think A&M, like I don't see them pulling back too much. They're going to probably win about 10 games.
No, 100%. Like I think A&M is going to be as good as they were last year. And like that might sound derogatory. No, it's a compliment because I think that team's good enough to make the playoff most seasons.
Yeah, if the SEC is going to get 4 teams in, A&M's probably among that.
Yeah, and like and to the USC point, like I think that yes, the schedule is nice for the Trojans, but I also think that we're just seeing like a steady like stock up for Lincoln Riley in this job. Like we thought it was just going to crater, and it turns out it's going the other way. Like I think having someone like Jaden Mayaba just like being in the program for as long as he's been in there now, I think having just an experience laden group that he recruited a lot of. Like this isn't like a hugely transfer portal heavy roster, no more so than any other big program. And like I think he's finally got his finger on the pulse of like what it takes to succeed at USC.
Yeah, Jade Mayava might win the Heisman. He's kind of in that discussion. I think even though you lose Danton Lynn to Penn State, you get Gary Patterson to come in to be your DC.
Yeah.
That'll perfectly complement all of Lincoln Riley Big 12 stuff with the best defensive mind of the Big 12 and Gary Patterson. So that'll be
Mhm.
fun.
100%. Yeah. Excited to see what they got cooking.
All right, number 9.
Number 9, this might be a team you have, this might not be, but I have LSU at number 9.
That's my number 9 as well.
Yeah, man. Look, we don't have to like how Lane Kiffin left Ole Miss, but this LSU football team's pretty damn good, and Lane Kiffin's a pretty damn good coach with a pretty good staff that we just watched get Ole Miss to the college football playoff.
Yeah, you got your Ole Miss staff largely coming over that was a top 6 team in college football this past year. You're getting a quarterback who's played in the playoff and Sam Levitt. I think that even though LSU's it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna go one or two ways. Like they're gonna win it all, or they're gonna win like 7 games.
Oh, there's massive shit show potential for sure.
Uh, that's what the S stands for, apparently.
100%.
But I can't definitively say that they're a lock to make the playoff right now. I think that
No.
they're certainly the most high-end team of the teams that are just on the outside of being a lock. That's why I've got them at 9.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, like I think they are high variance. Like 9 feels like a safe place to put them because it's like if they don't make the playoff, you don't look like an idiot. But like there's still a really good chance that they also do make the playoff. Like I think that I like honestly, if I'm being realistic about this, like I would say LSU has a better chance of being like a top 5 seed than they do of being like a 9 through 11 seed.
Yeah,
but like a better chance of missing the playoff or being a top five seed than they do like falling in that middle ground.
I think that's absolutely fair. Now, my top eight are all teams that, like, I would say at this point are locks to make the playoff, and I think there is pathways for each of them to win a national championship, some more so than others. I don't know how
Yeah,
you feel about that. Maybe they're the same eight teams.
they might be. My number eight is Indiana. I don't know if you have Indiana in your field.
I have Indiana at six.
Okay, okay. Uh, I I think Indiana is still going to be good because I believe in this coaching staff. I believe not just in Curt Cignetti, but like in the coordinators that we've talked about that are still somehow still there. Like I think that's pretty wild at this point. I would expect that if Indiana has the success that I expect them to, we're probably going to start to get some brain drain next offseason. But I mean, I don't think Josh Hoover's Fernando Mendoza. I don't think
No.
he's like a Heisman candidate or any stretch. You do like you have Charlie Becker coming back, but you do have to replace some skill position talent that you're losing. I understand everything that Indiana has going against it. That's why I'm probably not going to pick them to win a national championship. I still think that everything there that I need to trust is there.
Yeah, you're going to win about 10 games. You're going to be a top four team in the Big Ten, and that's going to be good enough to make the playoff. You are absolutely right there with the brain drain. Like the fact that like Cignetti's been able to retain Mike Shanahan, and then Bryant Haynes
Yeah.
this long is unbelievable. He will lose one of them, probably both. I would say
Mhm.
Bryant Haynes is surely gone.
Yeah, Brian Haynes, I would say, and I mean, I think honestly, Shanahan's potential prospects as a head coach, I think probably depends on what happens with Josh Hoover. Because if
Right.
Josh Hoover comes out and like not necessarily even as a Heisman candidate, but like plays his ass off much better than he did at TCU, then like I think Mike Shanahan starts to get some serious looks.
Yes. So I have Indiana at six. They're my Big Ten runner up. I think that like people are going to be gunning for them a little bit, but they're still really good.
Yeah.
At eight, I have Oregon.
Okay, so we swapped because I have Oregon as
Yes.
my Big Ten runner-up at six as well.
My thing is, for as great as I think Dante Moore is going to be, he's probably my pick to win the Heisman right now. And for as strong as I think Dan Lanning is, the coaching attrition is going to be a problem,
Hmm.
particularly with them losing Tosh Lapoy. I think that they'll be able to survive maybe a little bit more with Will Stein. Again, I don't know the Oregon coordinators off the top of my head, but like, look, Oregon's going to win 10 games here. They're going to maybe win a playoff game or two. We'll see how far they can go. This is a big year for Dan Lanning. I think he can make it happen, but like there's a lot of teams ahead of them that I think are really good. I would say you're probably closer to winning a national championship with this year as opposed to last year, but it's
Yeah.
not to the degree of what it was in 24 where you should have done it.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. Like I I said what I like. I think my thoughts on Oregon are reflected in the fact that they're sixth and not like
Mhm.
as the Big Ten runner up. Like normally we see the Big Ten runner up as a top four seed. That's what we've
Yeah.
seen the past couple years. And my thoughts on Oregon, I think, are reflected in that being the case. But like to answer your question, Chris Hampton is the defensive coordinator and Drew Muringer is the new offensive coordinator, both promoted from within in Oregon, which is
Okay.
probably why we didn't know them, if we're being
Yeah.
completely honest. Like off the top of my head, the internal hires don't necessarily get as much shine as the movement ones.
No, man. We got to know you, bro. That's how it goes.
100%.
What do you have at seven?
At seven, sorry, I got to go back to my notes. Miami, have the Miami Hurricanes.
I have Miami a little bit higher, but
Okay.
yeah, you go ahead with Miami.
So like I think that Darian Mensah, despite how weird that situation got with him getting there, he's a pretty damn good quarterback, man. And I think he's gonna thrive in this offense. I think that yes, you're losing some elite defensive talent on the defensive line. They're just retooling, man. Mario's been recruiting at a top 5 to 10 level for since he got there. And like I think Miami is in a position now where they're just gonna be consistently cooking. And I will say I have some newfound faith in Mario Cristobal. I do think like we can't forget the fact that they did lose the 2 games that they lost in the regular season because they made the national championship game. But the fact that they did like rebound from that and make the national championship game, I do think is important.
Yeah, I've got Miami as my number three seed,
Okay, okay.
and I still have them winning the ACC and everything like that. I just think like, you've got Darian Mensah coming in, you bring Cooper Barkate with you as well.
Yeah.
You inherit Malachi Tony. More importantly, you still have Shannon Dawson and Corey Heatherman there. Again, you're going to lose one of them. You should have lost Shannon Dawson to Tulane, but Tulane's stupid.
Yeah. 100%.
Um, and on that note, it's like I just think that Miami's going to run roughshod of everybody in the ACC. I think there's a chance they may go undefeated.
Yeah, the I talked a lot of crap about the ACC last year. It's just as bad this coming year, man. It's not a very good league.
Who would you have right now as like your second best ACC team?
Probably SMU,
Yeah, it's kind
honestly.
of yeah. I was looking at
Yeah.
SMU. I don't trust NC State that much. I think Tech pulls back a little bit, but not by
Yeah.
much.
I think Tech pulls back. Louisville's a wild card because we know Jeff Brom's gonna have his team ready and like
Yeah.
he kind of has his thing going there. But like I in terms of having his thing going, I don't know what the ceiling of that is, and I don't think it's winning the ACC.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Lincoln Kienholz and all that stuff. It could be great. Maybe they'll play defense this year. I don't know. Probably not.
It seems
Nah.
overrated.
No, you know what? So number seven, I've got a very overrated team. That's the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Okay. I have Notre Dame a little higher.
That's fine. They had played the softest, the baby shit schedule. They played
Yeah.
nobody. And maybe CJ Carr will beat up on a bunch of tomato cans, but I'm not quite there with that. I think that they lost a lot of coaches to the NFL assistant wise. Al Washington, Mike Mickens are both off to, I think, the Dolphins and Ravens staffs.
Yeah.
Marcus Freeman's gonna have to earn it, and maybe he will, but I think even a mediocre Notre Dame team is gonna go 11-1 with the schedule.
Yeah, 100%, man. Like I think this is a good Notre Dame team. I don't think it's as good as some people are going to make it out to be. And that's kind of the Notre Dame story, if we're being completely honest. But yeah, I mean, this schedule, like you have Miami and BYU. I would project that they probably lose one of those games, but
Yeah.
like I think they're probably better than BYU. I think they probably lose to Miami. Um, I have Notre Dame. I'll go ahead and say that I have Notre Dame at 5, and like I don't think that like I think they're going to slip up on the schedule because I don't think they're great. I think they're very very good. I don't think they're great necessarily, but I think that they play a lot of teams who aren't very very good, and that's going to propel them into the playoff.
Well, that's all fair. So we already know what our sixes are. We know what your
Yeah.
five is. You've got Oregon at 6. I've got Indiana at 6, and you've got Notre Dame at 5, and I've got Texas at 5.
Oh wow. Okay. I
Until
have
until
Texas a bit higher.
I figured you would. Until they beat Georgia, I don't care.
Yeah. Fair.
Like,
Fair.
I do wonder how it's going to work with moving on from Pete Kwiatkowski, bringing in Will Muschamp. I think it'll work, but I do think there may be some growing pains on that side of the ball. More importantly, I got to see if AJ Milwee can do anything because
Yeah.
he's got to step up because Sark gets in those moments and it doesn't come through. I do think Arch Manning's going to have a phenomenal season.
Yeah.
I think Texas' schedule is a little bit more challenging than Georgia, but like again, if Texas wins the SEC, that's not going to surprise me at all.
Yeah. 100%. I have Texas at 1, so we'll go ahead and
Uh,
spoil that.
yeah.
I I just think they're the best team in college football. And like again, that doesn't mean I'm projecting for them to win a national championship right now because it's February, so like let's just be clear, I'm not predicting a national champion in February. But if I'm looking on paper before we even get to spring football, Texas should win a national championship. Texas should be the number 1 seed in the college football playoff. And that's kind of what I'm projecting it as.
Cool, cool. So who do you got? Who got at 4? We might have the same team at 4.
I have Texas Tech at 4.
That's what I have at 4 as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said it a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was on the last show. I don't know. Time's a flat circle, and I'm completely lost in it. But Texas Tech kind of just can have their way with the Big 12 at this point. Like I just think that they're on another tier currently in terms of the talent level that they possess, and I think bringing in Sorsby is only going to make them even more dominant in that league.
Yeah, they'll be more well-rounded. They were so stout defensively. I think there's going to be good teams in the Big 12. It wouldn't shock me
Yeah.
if the Big 12 got 2 teams in. Like I'm very high on BYU. I know you're very high on Utah. Arizona State's going to be pretty good as well.
Mhm.
So like we'll see who kind of comes out of that cluster as well. But Texas Tech, what they did last year, like I think that's replicable.
100%. Yeah. I mean, they're spending money at a level that no one in the Big 12 is, and like it's not like spending like a couple million more, like it's several $1 million more, and like that's when you start to see like a talent discrepancy form.
Yeah, they've taken advantage of the power void at the top and just drill baby drill. So
That's
yeah.
right, baby.
So Miami is at number 3 for me. I know it's one of these 2 teams is going to be at year 3 for you.
Yeah, so I have Georgia at number 3 for me.
And
And
I've got Georgia at 2.
okay. And then I would assume you have the Ohio State Buckeyes at one, who I have at
Yes.
number two.
Yes.
Uh, I think Ohio State's going to be better than they were last year.
Yeah.
Julian Saint's a pretty damn good quarterback, and like, yes, he kind of pissed down his leg in the Big Ten championship game and in the college football playoff. But two things. One, I think the offensive line was young and is going to be better after a year of experience and after bringing in some reinforcements. I think that Julian Saint's going to take a step forward. I think you're talking about a wide receiver core that's still going to be one of the best in the country. You're talking about a running back room that's still going to be good and should be more effective behind a better offensive line. And yeah, you're losing a lot of talent defensively. That's not really slowed Ohio State down before, man. Like they just keep retooling. Like Ohio State is going, like I think they're just going to win the Big Ten. I think they're very clearly the best team in the Big Ten. As for Georgia, I have them very close with Texas. Like to be very clear, I think this is another team that, yes, you're going to see some losses to the NFL draft. That's Georgia. That's how this works. That's how any of these top programs that we're talking about. That's just how this works for them. But I think bringing back Gunnar Stockton is something that is going to be invaluable, especially with the progress we saw him make from week one last year to the college football playoff. Like, I think he grew exponentially, and I think that's only going to continue this year. I think that the weaponry is still very good at Georgia. I think the offensive line is in a good spot from where we're heading. Like, we saw them develop very well over the course of the season. And defensively, like, I think that the pieces you're losing are talented, but weren't necessarily the best players, if that makes sense.
Georgia's strength defensively is going to be in its secondary with
Mhm.
KJ Bolden and Ellis Robinson the fourth. You got some transfers coming in that'll be good. I don't know if you're going to have one hell of a pass rush. Anything is better than what it was a year ago.
Yes.
You got to replace a lot of production at receiver. The only real guy of note you're bringing back is London Humphreys, but you bring in Isaiah Canyon from Georgia Tech.
Mhm.
Stockton, is going to be running the ball all over the place. Same with Nate Frazier, Chauncey Bowens, and you get what Dowdle, I think, coming over from Kentucky.
Yeah.
Georgia's going to be able to run the ball over everybody. I think Ohio State's just all things equal. If the SEC champion and the Big Ten championship have the same record, the Big Ten's going to get the number one.
Mhm.
I think Ohio State. That's also the big thing. I think they're just the coordinators are better. Like Matt
Mhm.
Patricia and Arthur Smith are so overqualified for what they're doing.
100%. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't think you can overstate the fact that Brian Hartline is not, I don't think was very good at his job.
No, and there's a lot of pressure on Glenn Schumann this year. And Bobo had a good year last year
Yeah.
as a Broyles finalist. I'll say this with Arthur Smith: if Ohio State does what I think they can do, he might be your head coach in Chapel Hill next year.
God kill me. But
I know crossovers, man. Um,
don't like that. But yeah, it's a very real possibility.
and then I'm trying to think what else I had about that. I think I've already touched on Texas. So yeah, you know, I don't know, winning around, man.
That's right. 100%.
So, okay, let's start off our first four out, and then we'll kind of do our playoff seedings and stuff like that. So, who's your first team out?
So I'll just rattle off the four because I don't want to exhaust too much oxygen on these, but I have Oklahoma, Michigan, Utah, and Ole Miss as my first four out, who I think are all good teams that are like, if they made the playoff, would not surprise me. But like, whether it's schedule, which I believe you're going to talk about with Michigan here in a second, but like, I do think like whether it's schedule, whether it's just limitations that I see on certain sides of the ball, or whether it is just a ceiling that I think these top 12 teams can reach that they can't. I just have these guys out.
Yeah, Michigan's my first team out, followed by Oklahoma, BYU, and Ole Miss. And then if we go a little bit beyond that, you're looking at Alabama, Utah,
Mhm.
uh, SMU,
Yeah.
Louisville teams like Arizona State teams like that.
Yeah.
Like,
I get into the Iowas of the world.
yeah, I'd say that that's probably fair here. Michigan's schedule's brutal, man. They got to play.
Tough.
You host Oklahoma, you host Indiana, and then you got to play at Autzen, and you got to play in the Horseshoe. You have to win two of those games.
Which good luck, Kyle Whittingham. Welcome to the Big Ten, man.
This is what you signed up for there, brother. I do think BYU closes the gap a little bit on
Mhm.
Texas Tech, but the gap's still there.
Yeah, and I think that yes, losing Kyle Whittingham does scare me, but I think Utah had the higher ceiling than BYU last year, and they retained a lot of that same talent on the field. So I'm excited to see what that looks like.
100%. Let's do our matchups here.
Yes,
You
sir.
go you go first.
So at the 12-5, I have Boise at Notre Dame. I have Texas A&M at Autzen, which hell yeah, give me that. That's a narrative bowl right there.
The impressionable bowl, man.
100%. And then we've got the early 2000s bowl, USC at Miami in the
Let's go.
10-7. And then LSU having to make the trip to Bloomington, Indiana. I wonder what Lane Kiffin's going to do in Bloomington, man.
Uh, I'm gonna keep my mouth closed on that. So yeah, obviously I got Ohio State, Georgia, Miami, and Texas Tech is my four buys. My 5-12, I've got Texas hosting UNLV.
Mhm.
That's a game. 6-11, you got Indiana hosting USC in a Big Ten game that we didn't get, which would be fun.
Hell yeah.
7-10, you've got oh, they played last year, so Notre Dame hosting Texas A&M.
Hell yes.
And then you got my 8-9, you got Oregon hosting LSU.
Oh, baby. Let's
That
go.
let's go, man. That thing's got some big Ten energy coursing through its veins, and so do we. Let's move on to our third topic of the day, part two of our four-part series. We're gonna say who the five best head coaches in each Power Four league is, and the worst. And this is just fun, and it's off season, and who cares?
Hell yeah, man. Let's just rank some coaches. Why not?
Well, we did worst right first, right?
I thought we did best and then worst, but like we went 5-1 on each.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we did best. Okay. My fifth best Big Ten head coach. I got to move down my sheet.
Same, brother.
I've got incoming Penn State head coach Matt Campbell.
Okay, he was first off of my list, and he probably you go ahead, but I'll let you. I'll respond.
I think what he did in Ames is unprecedented. I
Mhm.
think he got the absolute most of what he could do at Iowa State. Look, they've got a good AD there in Jamie Pollard. It's a basketball school. They don't have a baseball program. He took what the worst program in the old Big Eight, the old Big 12, the new Big 12, and took it to heights that was unforeseen,
Yeah.
like what's once in a century. And then he obviously had success there at Toledo, but that's a job that you can win at if you even if you're Jason Candle.
Yeah.
You go to Penn State. I've always thought he'd go to a place where he'd have better resources.
Hmm.
I think he'll be able to fill in some of the cracks that James Franklin couldn't do, but also I think there might be an Auburn-esque ceiling there
Hmm.
in Happy Valley. Um, I don't know if he's going to lead a playoff team here again. We didn't mention Penn State. Maybe they'll crack the top 25 there. It's going to be a challenging first year unless Rocco Beck plays out of his mind, which is possible.
Definitely possible. You kind of you mentioned it there, but like I probably would have had Matt Campbell on this list had it not been for this offseason, which has me worried about Penn State, like just making Penn State, Iowa State, like not sure that's going to fly in the Big Ten, especially with how top heavy the Big Ten is. Had that not happened though, like yeah, the job that he's done in Ames, I probably would have had him in my top four because like what he's done as terms of being a head coach is truly phenomenal, and there's a reason he's been mentioned in head coaching cycles for like half a decade at this point.
Yeah, pre-COVID, man. He was like, "You want to go coach the Lions or Jets, man?"
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's been oh God, it's more than half a decade. We're
All
getting
right,
old.
we're getting old, man. Who do you got at five?
At five, I got Bert. We got Brett Belima, man.
Yeah, we got him switched. He was my first guy out.
Okay, yeah, and I think to me, like kind of to your point about Matt Campbell, the job that Belima's done at Illinois, pretty damn good, man. He's made Illinois a very consistent 8 to 10 win team. That's very hard to do. That is not an easy thing to do in the Big Ten. And he's kept it up with the Big Ten losing divisions. He's kept it up with like consistently like changing his philosophy of how his teams need to win. Like with Luke Altmaier coming in, yeah, we're going to throw the ball a little more after you just had a rush heavy offense like years prior. Like I think that his adaptability in the way that he's handled this Illinois program, which is not an easy place to win, just deserves a ton of credit.
Yeah, I had him here because, I mean, I bet Wisconsin regrets not having him.
Yeah.
Has Arkansas ever been as good since he left?
No, God, no.
No, I mean he's not. It wasn't Houston Nutt, but he's still. And then obviously Illinois, like he's done about as well as Illinois has been about as consistently good as I can ever remember. Maybe like the very early 2000s with like Bashard Mendenhall
Yeah.
as their back and everything like that before they had to rebrand. But everything like that. I saw somewhere. I think Reese Woodcock said this out there about for Fighting Illini. They haven't had a homegrown starting quarterback since 19.
Yeah. It's been a minute, 100%. But I mean, like, how far were those homegrown starting quarterbacks getting you?
Uh, Not great.
Yeah, exactly. Like, maybe that's smart. You know what I mean?
I mean, if it's the end of the line for Kirk Ferentz, maybe bring him back home. Maybe you get Iowa to what it should be.
That'd be
I
that'd be sick. That'd be really cool.
I just don't know if Bielema's going to get Illinois to the playoff, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the next step for old Bird. That's why he's at
Okay.
5 and not higher.
All right. At four for me, I've got incoming Michigan head coach Kyle Whittingham.
I also have him at 4. I have a feeling our top 4 are going to be the same,
This-
most likely in the same order.
yeah. Whittingham is an institution at Salt Lake. He was on Urban Meyer's staff there, but he was there for 20 years, empowers his coaches. He may be a defensive-minded guy, but he never belittled offense. He always recruited very well on the West Coast. Like basically all the guys from like California that like nobody really wanted at
Mhm.
USC, he got and made it happen. I think that will be a major boon to what he's trying to do there in Ann Arbor. But like he's in his mid 60s, and you
Mhm.
got to go to a Michigan program that is devolved in scandal after another, and you got to try to fix that. And I think he will, but this is a very challenging schedule for him.
No, I mean year one's going to be like trial by fire for sure. And like but like if you're gonna have a trial by fire in year one, I'd like to have a dude who's been around for 2 decades doing this stuff. And Kyle Whittingham certainly has. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's over there on the sidelines just chewing on jawbreakers, just scaring people.
Yeah.
Just all right. At number three, I got a guy with a rib tat. That's Dan Lanning.
100%, man. Rib Tat's only at number 3.
He's the best branch off the Kirby Smart coaching tree. He as an outside linebackers coach, he really knows his personnel on offense. Has really elevated Oregon to a level that I don't think it even got to with Bellotti or Chip Kelly or certainly Helfrich at that point.
Yeah.
Um, I think you can win a national championship there. However, I was thinking about this beforehand, and maybe I'll respond to what you say, but like, there's something about him. I think he needs to go to Alabama.
Hmm.
I think he needs to leave Oregon because him staying there is going to leave him exposed in a way that I think going to Alabama is exposing Kalen DeBoer.
No, 100%. I agree with everything you just said. And I think that you bringing up DeBoer is an interesting point because I think that both of them are like, I think if they swap places, both would be even more successful than they currently are. I think Kalen DeBoer is a better fit for Oregon and Dan Lanning is a better fit for Alabama. Like, I think that there is a stylistic clash that just doesn't quite fit right. Like, you talk about, wanting to, go to Oregon for wrong reasons and stuff like that, and like not really having the right mentality. I don't think that's something that bleeds down from Dan Lanning because that's not like nothing we see from Dan Lanning suggests that being the case. You know what I mean? And like I there to some degree there's some Steve Sarkisian with him as well. Like yes, you're tremendously successful at a place with a lot of resources, but you're not as successful as you probably should be. And like you haven't won the big one at this point. And so like I mean, Dan Lanning even less so than Steve Sarkisian. Sarkisian at least has made a college football playoff semifinal. Dan Lanning has not done that.
How do I say this? I'm just gonna say it. So, like, if you were to swap places, you bring like DeBoer in with his kind of guys, which unfortunately is hurting him at Alabama, will work in the Pacific Northwest. I think the thing with Lanning is like, you're bringing in some players, for lack of a better word, that's like 90% housebroken. Like, are you gonna let Remus the dog just around the house when you're gone? No, he's going in his crate. And I
Brother,
feel
I've got a Remus the dog story to tell you when we get off air. I can't tell it on air, but I can
we
tell you
can't
off air.
I mean it's the same with Miss Izzy. We can't leave her. With Lanning, it's like there's some of that with Oregon. He has to pay attention. And God forbid he looks away because somebody's gonna mess something up.
100%. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely what it feels like. Like it's he's hosting a bunch of gremlins in Eugene, Oregon. And like they're getting their own water.
It's like I couldn't even trust you for 1 second.
That's right, man. It's tough.
All right, at number two, I've got Ryan Day.
I also have Ryan Day at number 2.
We've come around on Ryan Day. I think he's phenomenal. I think he's really found his footing. He really empowers his staff.
Yeah.
Phenomenal recruiter. More importantly, I think more so because we thought, oh, you're born on third base with Urban Meyer. He actually develops quarterbacks.
100%. And like I think like the other thing that stands out to me about Ryan Day is like when you look at I think the criticisms of Ryan Day when we're talking like 22, 23, I think those criticisms were pretty valid. I think that he has grown into this. Like I don't think we were wrong for being lower on Ryan Day, but I think he's answered those criticisms and like grown from that. I think he's developed as a CEO, not just a CEO type, but just like as a CEO, like I think he's developed as we watched him in this tenure.
He also hasn't had the best decision makers at quarterback playing for him.
God no.
CJ Stroud, Justin Fields, the late Dwayne Haskins.
Hmm.
My points that didn't mean to take it in a ditch, but like yes, I think Saban's a little bit more. Will Howard a little bit more like. Well, Will Howard knew is like, yeah, I don't have their talent, so I can't be dumb.
I'll throw where you tell me to, coach. I swear to
Just
God.
don't ask me to slide in the right spot. I'll mess that up.
Don't make me think, coach.
Dude, there's always one guy on my travel team that just couldn't slide. It's the worst thing ever. One guy's like messing his knee up, the other guy's like falling down. I'm like, this is the easiest thing to do.
I'm pretty bad at sliding, but that's okay.
It's you just run into people getting red cards.
100%, man. Catcher collisions and slow pitch softball. Nothing better.
That's great, man. And then the number one, we've got Curt Cignetti.
Yeah. I mean, and I think you have to look at Cignetti by starting like comparing him to Ryan Day. As good of a head coach as I think Ryan Day is, there's no shot in hell he would be able to do what Curt Cignetti has done in Indiana. There's no shot in hell.
No, I don't really know who else. I mean, I don't even know if Kirby could do it.
Honestly, no. I don't think we're gonna rank national head coaches at some point in the offseason. And like I don't think I'm gonna have Cignetti ahead of Kirby, but like it's a
It's
lot closer than
it's
people want to talk about.
yeah, like those are gonna be our top three guys. Just
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll forget that by the time we get there. So I hope the listeners do too.
don't retain anything. It's cool, man.
That's right.
But Cignetti, just the again, it's like he's gotten that level of attentiveness that I don't think Dan Lanning's quite gotten to. And I don't think Sark has either. If
Mhm.
either of them do, they will win national championships because look, as much as I love Kirby and as much as I respect Ryan Day, they've got a lot of talent where they can kind of overcome this. It's like, let's just run this as simple as possible and just have our best players execute easy plays to the best of their ability. And that's the old Nick Saban way of doing it.
Mhm.
But I don't know if Signetti's going to win another national championship, but that doesn't matter to me.
He won one, which is more than anyone in Indiana's ever done. That's for damn sure. And like to your point, like talking about like the advantages that a Kirby and a Ryan Day have, like if Mike Bobo was the offensive coordinator at Indiana, it would not be going as well as it is now. Mike Bobo's offense works at Georgia. I don't know if it works many other places.
No, it didn't really work at Colorado State.
God, no, it did not.
He brought along his friend Will Friend, and it was not friendly there. It was friendly fire.
No, absolutely.
All right, let's flip this around. Let's go to the bottom five. Let's be real. The Big Ten has some brilliant coaches, so this is hard.
Yeah, 100%. I feel confident in my five though.
Who do you got at five?
Pat Fitzgerald. The way things ended previously weren't particularly good, and I understand that he was able to successfully sue the university. Don't really care. I think that there's a real chance that the game has passed Pat Fitzgerald by, and I understand like he's been out of football for a little bit. Like we do need to see it, but like I don't have a hell of a lot of confidence in what this is going to look like at Michigan State.
He was my first guy out of the bottom for that
Okay,
reason.
okay,
He did every 3 or 4 years. He went about 10 games at Northwestern. He was an institution there. Maybe they threw a statue into Lake Michigan. I don't know. But we'll see what happens at Michigan State. I mean, why do they always just bring in just that? I don't understand.
The best thing you could say about Pat Fitzgerald is that he's not Mel Tucker.
That's great. Also, I said something writing about Michigan losing to Duke last night on the
Mhm.
hardwood, and I said Michigan I think can still win a national championship, and it's like yeah, Tom Izzo's been really hanging on to that one for decades.
As has most of the Big Ten.
Duke, I mean, unfortunately, Cameron Boozer, I want him on the Hawks so goddamn bad.
Oh man, I
Because
can't stand him.
at least he can score because Risashe doesn't shoot. It's just what a terrible first round pick.
It's
God,
not great. It's not great.
no, it's not great here. At five, I felt bad about this. I've got Greg Schiano.
Okay, and definitely fair. He's my first off of this list.
He's the best head coach in Rutgers history. He knows exactly what it does to win just enough games there to not get fired. I think even though the game has changed and you're not in the old Big Ten or the Big East, you're in the Big Ten, not even the Big Ten East, whatever that is. My concern with him is even like we do this every year. We always look at Bill Connolly's thing with like rosters who retain the most people. Rutgers is always up there because he just gets the right jersey guys to play there. I don't think he knows a damn thing about offense.
No, God, no.
And for that reason, like I would feel like if you knew something, you could win 8 games. You could be PJ Fleck, and you're just not doing it.
Yeah, like I being the best coach in Rutgers history is a low bar, like admittedly. Like I think that that doesn't mean this has to be Rutgers' ceiling, but I think Rutgers is complacent enough to say it is. And like I'm not saying like the ceiling is a national championship because I don't think that's the case either. Like Rutgers is not an easy job by any stretch of the imagination. But to your point, like I think Greg Schiano does enough to not get fired. I don't think he reaches the ceiling of what this could be.
I think that's fair. All right. Who do you have at number 4?
I have Matt Rule.
Ooh,
And
I had him just on the outside of like Fitzgerald, so I had him at 12.
yeah, I look at Matt Rule and man, you made a bowl game, took you forever to do so in 2024, and you had all of the pieces in place to really build upon that, and you won 7 games. And I'm just like, I'm wondering if, and I know this is weird to say because like we've talked many times about Nebraska not being as easy as it used to be. It's not the same job that it once was. And like we're fully aware of that. At the same time, I think it might be a job that's too big for Matt Rule. I think that Matt Rule just might not be suited to coach in this type of spotlight. I think he's much more suited to coach at a Baylor, at a Temple, where because of where you are, you're never going to be in the spotlight.
We had a coach like this a little bit before him. There was a coach like this that if we would have done the show when we were in our 20s, it would have been great. He's just the new Butch Jones.
That's a really good call. That's a really good call.
You can win at like Temple or Baylor, but when you get to a place where there's a lot more resources, like Nebraska and Tennessee, these are blue bloods. These are some of the best
Hmm.
programs ever. The pressure amps up. We know Bush Jones would just crack and say cliches. Matt Rule, I don't even want to know how to sucks all the air out of the room like he's
Yeah.
Peyton Manning. I think that like I don't know. There's other coaches out there that I think he's reset the program. Whoever replaces him is going to be really good.
Yeah, 100%. Like I think that like I don't think that he's necessarily done like an entirely like awful job. Like this isn't like Chad Morris at Arkansas or anything like that by any stretch of the imagination. But like it's not as successful as it should be, and I think he's the common denominator in that.
Yeah, like if he were to go replace like Scott Satterfield in like Cincinnati, he would do
Mm,
phenomenal there. If he were
yes.
to go, who's the ACC equivalent of this? Something just
I'd take
like
him at North Carolina. I think
yeah,
he'd be really good at North Carolina.
he'd be really good at North Carolina. He'd be really good at I don't know if maybe South Carolina's too high profile, but
Yeah.
maybe that's about what you could do in the SEC.
I think an SEC job might be a little much for Matt
Yeah,
Rule.
yeah, I think that's fair. So ACC or Big 12 for you it goes, brother.
100%.
At 4 for me, this did me no pain. Or it was no pain. I don't know what the word is. I'm tired.
Brought you no
Um,
joy.
there you go. Uh, I got Barry Odom.
Okay. I left Barry Odom off out of respect. But I fully understand where you're coming from.
I think I think there's a chance, and again, I'm gonna see what happens this year. I think there's a chance the power two is too big for him.
It's definitely a possibility.
So he's a star coordinator at his alma mater of Mizzou. He replaces his mentor Gary Pinkel, and it hit the fan there in Como. Granted, that was the worst run of Mizzou football probably since we can remember.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
and then you go to Arkansas, you reinvent it, you elevate Sam Pittman's stock far beyond what it was. You go to UNLV, you win there. But also, I think UNLV was turning a corner. I think Marcus Arroyo got a raw deal before him, and obviously
Yeah.
we've seen Dan Mullen have success. You go to Purdue, and I'm like, why would you take this job? It was a really bad cycle a couple of years ago.
Hmm.
Yes, the floor was the floor is the mantle of the earth from Ryan effing
Yes.
Walters. And maybe he'll turn it around, but like maybe Jeff Brom's just that good of a coach. I mean, like
Yeah.
I mean, between Jeff Brom and Joe Tiller, it was just a bunch of crap there in West Lafayette.
No, dude, 100%. Like, no one's won at Purdue except for those two
Yeah.
coaches. Like, I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. Like, no one has consistently won games there, and like, they both went on to have pretty damn good coaching careers. You know what I mean? Like, I think like there's a common to use this phrase again. There's a common denominator in this, and it's Purdue. Like, but like, I don't necessarily think that like, and I guess like how I would justify leaving Barry Odom off of this. If that is the case, I don't even know if we can judge Barry Odom as a Power Four coach because of the Purdue of it all.
Yeah, that's tough, man. You can't take the 49ers job like your Chip Kelly 'cause it's just
100%. Yeah.
all right. So who is your well, you said you're four, right? You
Yeah,
got
my four is Matt Rule.
all right, who do you have at three?
David Braun.
Same.
Yeah, and like I have a feeling we have the I'm interested to see how 2 and 1 shake out, but I think our top three are probably the same. Uh
Yeah.
um and this is some like I think to a lesser degree of what Purdue is and under Barry Odom, like part of this is a Northwestern problem. Like Northwestern's not an easy place to win, but to the point of Pat Fitzgerald, he found a run like a formula there to have enough success to like appease people, appease Northwestern boosters and fans. I don't think David Braun is necessarily looking like he's settling into that cycle. I feel like he is just he had a an overachieving first season where they finished 8-5, and he's living on that as like a lot of goodwill that he built up really quickly. That goodwill is going to run out pretty quickly if you have another pretty crappy year for Northwestern.
He didn't ask for this. I mean, he came in to
No,
be Pat
no.
Fitzgerald's DC from like one of the Dakota State schools, I
Yeah,
guess. Well, now you're the head coach and you win this out. And then also while you're there, you're coinciding with realignment and then Ryan Field getting renovated. So you got to play games at Azkaban and then Wrigley Field.
that's right.
Um, and I do think David Braun's is a good head coach. I think my concern is like I don't see the ceiling being any higher than 8-4 with him. And with Northwestern, they're going to put money into this thing. There's going to be people who are going to be like, is this just the better version of Zach Arnett?
Yeah. Yeah. God, that's tough. That's I mean not unfair, but tough.
And not unfair and tough. I know we probably have the same two coaches for top two. Um, two, I've got Mike Locksley.
I've got Mike Locksley at one, and you have Luke Fickle at one, and I have Luke Fickle at
Yes.
two. And let me go ahead and just tell you my reason for this. Loxley's been doing it at this level of crapitude for a lot longer than Luke Fickle, and that's literally why he's at number one. But they're both awful.
Mike Locksley is the offensive equivalent of Greg Schiano. Doesn't know anything about defense. His team doesn't really show up in conference play. I think the reason he has this job is because he beat Billy Edwards and Luke Fickle last year. Also, Malik Washington's pretty promising.
Yeah,
But like you have more talent, in the DMV area. You can recruit there. You got the Catholic school pipeline. You have the Under Armour money. You should be better. I mean, we saw Bobby Ross win more. We saw Ralph Region win more. We saw DJ Durkin win about the same.
mhm.
Um, this is also what I think year two of James Smith being your AD coming over from the Braves. At
Yeah,
some point, like basketball program is not good. This is gonna put pressure on Loxley. I'm surprised he get fired 2 years ago. Unless they go to a bowl game this year, he's cooked.
yeah. No, it's not good. And like to your point about like there being talent in the DMV area, talent's not been the issue with Maryland. Maryland consistently produces NFL players. Like this isn't like an untalented program that just like doesn't have the dudes. They've got dudes. They had like all three of their wide receivers drafted from the 2023, 2024 seasons. Like this is a good like the talent's there and like that's an indictment on coaching right there. And it's an indictment on Mike Locksley.
I didn't even know what I was going to say about Luke Fickle, but let me cook, brother.
Let's go, baby. I'm just gonna buckle up and let you go.
As a man who was forced onto the Wisconsin beat for 3/4 of the season this past fall after my role changed,
Mhm.
I've never seen more quarterback coaching malpractice than I did with Luke Fickle.
Yeah.
Uh, Billy Edwards Jr. played a half and two possessions, forced him out there against Maryland to prove a point to somebody where you didn't need to. Could have gotten him ready for Michigan. Got hurt, never played. I think he transferred to like your guys or something like that.
Where did he end up transferring?
I mean, yeah, I think he's North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken.
He is at Carolina. Hell yeah, dude. We're thriving. Billy Edwards and Taron Dickens. Let's go.
His mouthpiece just needs to be schooled, man. Uh, hell yeah. But then you got a guy who like doesn't know offensive line play at all, doesn't put way too much faith in Jeff Grimes. your secondary is awful. You can't stop anybody. And oh, you didn't score a point for a month. Like, and all because, your athletic director, Jennifer Dugan, doesn't care about sports. And then, or your president doesn't care. And then, God, was it Chris McIntyre, I guess?
I think that's right.
McIntosh, what the hell his name is? Yeah, the AD. This is just some fat catty nonsense. This is just like, just utter trash. It's like Steve Coogan stepping on a landmine was more productive than Luke Fickell last year.
Oh man, no, he's really bad at his job, dude. Like I think that's just what I come down. Like the Billy Edwards thing is like mind numbing. Like that's a fireable offense, like in and of itself, quite frankly. But like what Wisconsin hasn't done anything well since he got there, and like I think that's just like for a program that we've talked about it before, but like for a program that just like had such a set in stone formula that was just like rinse, repeat, win 9 to 11 games. And I understand that was in the Big Ten East, but like you should still be able to win 9 games in the new Big Ten pretty consistently with that formula. And like you're not even close.
And even beyond Billy Edwards, you put Danny O'Neill out there, who was like, the Baker Mayfield, you have it all, dude.
You have it all.
And I love me some Danny O'Neill. He had some swagger about it, but he put him in a position, playing on the turf in the rain, and Washington tore that up, so
Mhm.
he's done. Then he put in something called Hunter Simmons, which was just fear P in a human body. And then you put a guy named Carter Smith out there who is like really talented, like basically, your family, the bad dad leaves, has a new family. It's basically the repeat of Graham Mertz.
Yeah.
Can't really throw, but he's got a 4 stars for some reason. So this is so dumb. This team's going to go 4-8, and they need to fire him. They're not going to. I'm so mad.
It's tough, man. Again, like I'm not defending Luke Fickell by putting him at 2. It's just Loxley's been doing this at this like at the same crappy level for longer.
Yeah, no, I don't think either of them can count to six. And on that note, we're going to debut a new segment, 6 Degrees of Separation from Nick Saban.
Yes, sir.
This is so dumb. And I came up with this basically after the passing of Catherine O'Hara. I'm like, how do I
Mhm.
connect her to it?
Yeah.
I did it through Beetlejuice with
Oh,
Michael Keaton.
nice. There we
I
go.
think it's like what Catherine O'Hara is in Beetlejuice with Michael Keaton, who is in The Other Guys with Will Ferrell,
Mm.
who is in like The Office with somebody, and somehow I got that. No, he was in The Office with Rashida Jones, who was in Parks and Rec with Chris Pratt, who was in Guardians of the Galaxy with Kevin Bacon. There we go.
There we go. Love it. Hell
So we're
yes.
we're each gonna pick 2 people, and we're just gonna tie them to Nick Saban and see if we can do it under 5. I don't know if you've planned any of these out.
I have not planned a damn thing, so we're just rolling with it, baby.
All right. You go with your first guy. Who can we get to 6 degrees of separation with Nick Saban?
Joel Klatt is who I started with.
Um. Okay.
I think I might have some. So I have both of their Wikipedia, both of my guys' Wikipedias pulled up, so we can expedite this to some degree.
Okay.
Um,
I got it. I got it.
okay, hit me up.
Okay. Joel Klatt's college teammate at Colorado was Brendan Schaub,
Okay, okay,
who did a podcast with Theo Vaughn.
hell yeah.
Who went on a date with Diego Pavia's mom,
Damn right.
uh, who I guess then that goes to Diego Pavia. Ah, damn, I can't do it.
Diego
And then
Pavia.
how do we get Diego Pavia to Alabama or oh no, Theo Vaughn's an LSU fan. There we go. I don't know.
There we go. There we go.
Just go back from Diego Pavia.
That's right. Yeah. Everything. We just got to get him to Diego Pavia and we'll be good.
Or how would you have done it?
So my first instinct was, and I was wrong on this, so it wouldn't work. But my first instinct was Clout was on the practice squad for the 2006 Lions, and I was like, did he cross over with Dan Campbell? Because if I can get to Dan Campbell, I can get there. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And not the case. Dan Campbell was not on the 2006 Lions, so don't know where to start. Um, I would probably go with, let's see, Joel Klatt.
Well, he played for Gary Barnett, so you could probably get to Northwestern with that. But that I don't know how far back that goes.
I don't know. You were closest with Diego Pavia. That's like the closest I can think of off the top of my head. Joel Klatt. Let's see. He works he works on Big Noon with Urban Meyer, which I think could
Let's
help
go.
us. Who was let me check this out. Okay. Urban Meyer seasons. I want to get the year right. That's why I'm looking at this. Head coaching record. Uh,
Run it through Lou Holtz at Notre Dame. Just do it.
just run it through. Let's see. Oh, perfect. Okay, I got it. We're ready to go.
Let's go.
Works with Urban Meyer on Big Name. We're gonna do this in less than six. This is easy. Who beat Nick Saban in Alabama, I believe, in the SEC championship game in would have been 2008.
8.
Yeah. Okay. There we
Yeah,
go.
because then it flipped with Tebow crying the next year and Bama beat Texas to win
That's
next
right.
year.
Yeah. Okay. Hell yeah. So
Right.
I only needed two. There we go.
All right. We're gonna do a player for mine first
Hell
one.
yeah.
Let's go with former Detroit Lions and Georgia Tech star Calvin Johnson.
Oh, okay. Okay. So Calvin Johnson. Okay, you're gonna have to help me with the years on this. Calvin Johnson played with Matthew Stafford on the Detroit Lions. So that's only
Yes.
one. Sorry.
Hmm.
Matthew Stafford was at Georgia, and I'm gonna assume
Here you go. He played for Mark Richt at Georgia,
yeah, he played for Mark Richt at Georgia.
and who was an assistant under Mark Richt at Georgia? He played coach running backs. Kirby Smart. There you go.
There we go. Okay, dude, that's four. That was a good one. Hell yeah.
That's
I
that.
knew Stafford was the right path to go down.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. You could have gone down with Roman Reigns too, but
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, we could have.
or you could have gone to any number of teams that what Chan Gailey or John Tennier coached at.
100%. Chan Gailey's like the immaculate grid superstar.
Hell yeah. Okay, who else you got?
All right, this one might be a little difficult, and I apologize for it. I have no idea how to get there. Timmy Chang.
Okay. Um. Oh Jesus.
I'm sorry.
Timmy Chang played at Hawaii for June Jones.
Okay.
Okay. Who was the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons?
Yes, let's go.
Um. So he was the head coach in like he was basically there from like 91 to like 97. So basically everything between like before Dan Reeves got there. So we got
Yeah,
some wiggle room there.
yeah.
The question is like what player do we want to do? Do you want to do what if we did this one? Oh, this could be really, really, really dumb. What are you gonna do? Do we do like Jeff George,
We now we have to, I think.
whose son Caden was recruited by Alabama and Nick Saban? Let's go.
Hell yes. Hell yes.
Yes.
Dude, this is great.
Who went to high school with Jason Whitlock.
Oh my God.
My last one's a coach. Let's do Bill Snyder,
Bill
the
Snyder.
former Kansas State head coach and Iowa OC.
Yeah. So, all right, we're gonna go. All right. We're gonna go Bill Snyder to my brain is not functioning, brother.
I got. I actually thought of this one, so
Okay.
I'll let you go first because I actually have one I can do in like five or six.
No, you go ahead because I need to think. So,
All right. One of Bill Snyder's greatest players who played for him was running back Darren Sproles at Kansas
okay.
State,
Okay.
who played for Sean Payton on the Saints,
Oh, nice. Okay.
who was mentored by Bill Parcells of the Dallas Cowboys,
Okay.
whose mentee of the New York Giants was Bill Belichick, who was the head coach of Nick Saban when he was in the Browns.
Oh, that's a good one.
Now
That's a good one.
I was trying to go through Colin Klein. There's probably a Colin Klein one to do too.
So that's where my head was going, and I'm
Just
gonna see. Okay, no, I've got it. We're ready to go.
Okay,
We're
let's
ready to
go.
go. All right. So also one of Bill Snyder's greatest players, Colin Klein,
Yes.
who was just the OC at Texas A&M with Mike Elko.
Hmm.
Mike Elko was the DC under Jimbo Fisher,
Who
and
was
Jimbo Fisher was
the
coordinator
OC?
at LSU under Nick Saban.
God, I love that. That was so much fun.
Dude, that's good. We got to do that again.
And eventually we'll be able to tie it to this next guy here. Let's move on to our penultimate topic here with your group of six is on fire.
And
I got a feeling
yeah,
the group is on fire. Thomas Hammock's going to leave his alma mater of Northern Illinois to go for some sort of role with the Seahawks. G6 is cooked because this is the latest guy to leave. What we saw Scott Loeffler leave the Bowling Green to go be on the Eagles staff.
Mhm.
We've seen other ones out there.
Basically every one of Alabama's coordinators going to Alabama from a G5 job. Some of them head coaches.
Yeah, Ken Womack. You've also seen what essentially a G6 job in Boston College, Jeff Halfley going to the
Yeah,
NFL.
100%.
Like,
Yeah.
so Thomas Hammock is 2 years ago, he beat Notre Dame in Notre Dame,
Hmm.
the eventual national runner-up. They were ranked. I had them in playoffs. You kidding me for a minute? This guy played running back for them at the Huskies. I mean, I think he predates Michael LeBron Turner by a little bit, not by
Yeah, a little
much.
bit.
Then Northern Illinois is like, you know what? We're not going to be in the MAC anymore. We're going to play in the Mountain West, I think now, and
Yeah.
their MAC spot's being taken over by something called Sacramento State.
A choice for sure. Definitely, definitely what I think of when I think Mid-American.
I know, man. Like, I get it. I think this is a guy who's well respected, but maybe he saw the writing on the wall of like, this is just cooked, dude.
No, it's I think it's honestly a sad state of affairs for college football. I think is really what it comes down to. Like, I think that I not to pat myself on the back, but when Jeff Halfley left Boston College to go be the Packers DC, I was like, I understand why. Like, what upward mobility do you really have at Boston College in the college football ranks? Because I can tell you, like, there's not a lot of people looking at the Boston College job being like, oh, I probably want the guy who just led Boston College to 6-6, even if they're probably a pretty good coach for being able to do that. And so, like, it's one of those things where we saw Thomas Hammock specifically. We saw him before the 2025 season kind of go off on NIL and the transfer portal a little bit. And like, you have to believe that was probably a factor in this decision. Like, I think he's just probably like seen the writing on the wall from the inside and just been like, man, this is going to where like what you're going to try to do at Northern Illinois or what you're going to try to do at any G6 program is not sustainable. Like, it's going to be continuously more and more difficult to have sustained success. And that's like outside of the top of the G5. Like when you're talking about a Tulane, when you're talking about a Memphis, when you're talking about a UNLV, when you're talking about a Boise, yes, they're going to be able to have sustained success because they're kind of like JV P4, not necessarily your traditional G6 when you think about it in those terms. And so I think I hate to say it, but like this isn't going to be the last we see of this by any stretch of the imagination.
Now, when he was talking about this is a similar thing that like Halfley said before he left BC. And like
Mhm.
Northern Illinois has had two of the most fun players in college football since we remember with Michael Alberto Turner and a quarterback who we may talk about here shortly, and Jordan Lynch.
We will if yeah, he's one of mine for sure.
Yeah. I think part of it's just too like, the changing of the league. It's like, you're going from Northern Illinois. It's like we're gonna play, we're gonna play everybody in Ohio and Michigan. And now we're gonna play like now we gotta play like Hawaii. Like, what the hell is this?
How did we get here? That's the real question.
And I don't know, man. How the hell do we get here? Let's remember some quarterbacks and some dudes here.
Yes, sir.
ESPN's Bill Connolly put this out. He put out like the 100 best quarterbacks of the 21st century. A lot of stuff on here. I wrote about this for Who's Your State of Mind about Fernando Mendoza being at 14, which is ludicrous. He should be a top 10 player.
100%. Yeah. And
Uh, uh,
Indiana's flipping champs, man.
I'm good with whoever they have in the top five. You can move around the order. For the
Yeah.
record, he had what was it? Baker Mayfield at one, Cam Newton two, Vince Young three, Tim Tebow four, Joe Burrow five. That seems like the right five.
Yeah, 100%.
I
And like
probably had
you're right. Like it's hard to bicker with the order that he has, but like even if mine would be different.
I'd probably have Vince Young a little bit further down, but that's where I would feel. But Baker had a hell of a college career.
Dude, Baker was awesome in college. Like, don't get it twisted at all.
And then Kyler Murray at seven's an absolute farce.
That's a joke. That's
That's that's
they he Kyler Murray benefited greatly from Baker Mayfield.
yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like, look, to be fair, anybody who's in the top 20 is going to be a Hall of Famer because like Luck's like 19 or something.
Yeah. And like to be clear,
Jade,
like Kyler Murray should probably be in the top 20, top 25. Like I'm not like disparaging him completely, but like top that's we're getting a little over our
yeah,
skis here.
like six, I would have had Lamar Jackson because Lamar Jackson was unbelievable. Like,
Yeah. That the last Carolina football game I went to, Lamar Jackson just took my soul single-handedly. So
that's incredible there. So let's remember a couple of dudes here. Let's start. You said you had Jordan Lynch on there, right?
yeah, I have Jordan Lynch. I only put two down here for today, but I have Jordan Lynch. And like I remember thinking Jordan Lynch was going to just be the greatest college football or the greatest football player who ever lived. Like I was like, well, he's obviously the number one pick. Dude has 99 touchdowns in his college career. Why would he not be? Learned a lot about the draft process through Jordan Lynch, but dude, just a ton of fun. And like one of those guys who was made like at a time when it was not necessarily as widely available as it obviously is these days with ESPN Plus and the bevy of ESPN networks that we have to watch college football. But like he made watching Power 5 football fun. Like he was like one of the guys who I remember like, oh, this dude who's scoring six total touchdowns a game. I kind of want to go check out and see what he's going to do tonight before I learned about what Maxton was, before I learned, before I was as in deep in this as I am now. Like he's one of the guys who started getting me deep in this.
Phenomenal player. He's one of six Heisman finalists, thinking 14, I think the year that Jameis won it.
Yeah, 100%.
It was like him, McCarron, they had a running back, like Andre Williams from like cousin Andre from BC.
That's right.
I'm gonna go with the guy who's also from the back.
Hell
Let's go
yeah.
with Central Michigan Chippewas quarterback Dan Lefevre.
Oh yeah. Let's go.
That guy deserved NIL more than probably anybody else, more than Tebow, more than Johnny Manziel. That guy basically got Brian Kelly the Cincinnati job, and he
Yeah.
got Butch Jones the Tennessee job.
100%.
Central Michigan in the late 2000s was a dynamo. They probably would have been a playoff team if it existed back then.
Mhm.
Haven't been the same program since. They had Cooper Rush a little bit later, I think. So
Yeah.
they had some success, but Dan Lefevre was unbelievable.
With the name of a hockey player too. Like that's the first thing I think of when I think of Dan Lefevre is like, brother, you like I don't know how you avoid, especially because like he's in an area of the country that plays a hell of a lot of hockey too. So like I don't know how just like by name they weren't just like throwing skates on you instead of putting a football in your hands.
You know how like Chase Daniel ran off of Taco Bell? I think he ran off of Culver's and Line Kugel.
100%.
I don't even know if he drinks, but whatever. Who do you have as another guy?
JT Barrett, another dual threat guy, but man, JT Barrett was one of those guys who like again, like this is a little bit like later in my college football watching career where I am deep in this and like starting to dip my toes into draft content and stuff like that. And I'm watching JT Barrett and I'm like, I'm pretty sure this guy's like not that good at playing quarterback, but he's really good at playing quarterback for Ohio State. And like it was one of those things where like I think the thing that stands out in my mind the most about like remembering watching him is like having to marry in my head the idea of like this guy probably shouldn't be as good as he is, but damn it if he doesn't go out there and do it every single week for Ohio State.
Yeah, this ties into like, how nicely we spoke about Ryan Day. Like JT Barrett when he played for him, dude.
Oh
Like,
God, no, no.
no, but he was a guy out there. It's like, yeah, I'm winning 10 games with this guy every year.
100%. And like it rarely made sense, but like you would look out, like you would be thinking, like I like truly, I can remember watching games and being like, man, JT Barrett's like not playing good. You look at the box score and he's got like 400 total yards, and you're like, how did we get here? Like I don't understand how this happened.
I'm going to go with the guy that may have gotten drafted, didn't play very much in the NFL. I'm going to go with the guy who started it all at quarterback for Clemson. Let's go, Tosh Boyd.
Dude, love Taj Boyd. I
The
think he
big
was like a
po
seventh round pick, if I'm not
by like the,
mistaken.
the the Jets or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was AFC East for sure.
The player that turned everything around for Clemson was CJ Spiller. We've obviously remembered him before. Tosh Boyd's the quarterback before Deshaun Watson, before Kelly Bryant, before
Trevor.
Trevor, before DJU ruined everything,
Yeah.
and then Cade Klubnik ruined it even more.
Mhm.
Maybe what's that Christopher Zvizina's the new guy.
Yeah, I can't pronounce his last name, but that guy.
Yeah, that guy. Tosh Boyd, he was so tough, he made the J and H switch spots in his name. Uh,
100%.
he was kind of like he's everything that DJ you wish he could be.
Dude, that's a really good call, actually.
He was a guy that was going to rally the troops. He would ad lib a little bit. And I feel like that was a guy without him. I don't know if Dabo's the coach and had the success that he did. This guy was instrumental in turning Clemson around.
No, and I mean probably because they're the same bill, but I also think they played similarly. He was like power conference Byron Leftwich. Like that's
Yes.
kind of what he like was to Clemson. And like Byron Leftwich led Marshall to a lot of success. Just like Taj Boyd like is definitely like the spark that started the fire, man.
You want to remember anybody else? You're going to move on to the other stuff.
Let's go on to the other stuff. That's why I only had two for the day.
And obviously, on a sad note, we got to remember two people that are very important to both, the show and the sport we cover. We got to remember the late great Rondale Moore, and then we got to remember Wes Record too.
Yeah,
That's
man.
that's some tough stuff. Obviously, the news breaking of Rondale Moore passing away is devastating.
Mhm.
The most electric player I ever saw at Purdue, and I mean
Dude.
that also Aiden O'Connell was really good for them, and the George Karlaftis. This guy, he single-handedly beat Ohio State in the Tyler Trent game. Also, rest
Dude,
in peace.
dude, I like that game. I did a TikTok for Fansided on it last night. Like I was like, this is the best way to remember Rondell Moore because like it was truly like one of the most unforgettable single like individual performances that you're ever going to see in college football. 12 catches, 170 yards, two touchdowns. He was also the team's second leading rusher with 24 rushing yards, and they literally couldn't tackle him. They couldn't touch him. And like injuries throughout like the end of his Purdue career and in his NFL career. Like he never fully got to be that, but like he had enough juice to like be a legitimate NFL talent. He had enough juice to be someone who was in the NFL for 10 years. And injuries just kind of betrayed him. And like it's devastatingly sad, but like truly that 2018 season is one like I won't forget.
Yeah, he was. That was the beginning of like it all for Jeff Brom really
Yeah.
at Purdue, and everything like that. Got drafted by the Cardinals, got traded to the Falcons, got hurt, went signed with the Vikings, got hurt, and then yeah, it's just terrible all across the board.
No, I just want to be clear. I smirked because I was like, is Jeff Brom a good coach or did he just have Rondell Moore? That's what I was about to say.
So maybe if Jeff Brom thinks about that too.
Probably, probably.
And then also on on a sad note, longtime Tennessee Vols writer Wes Rucker passed away in a horrible car accident
Yeah.
earlier this week. And again, when I first got into the writing thing, everybody always talks about Wes Rucker about two things. He's like he was just always like if anybody needed anything from him, he would always step forward, and he was always like, "I'm gonna say whatever, and I don't care." And I always thought that he
Mhm.
was unapologetically himself, and a lot of people in this industry aren't that.
Yeah.
We kind of lost one of the guys who was like that.
No, 100%. I'm not consuming a lot of local Tennessee news content, but I do actually have family in Knoxville and they would always whenever we would start talking football, they would always bring up a point that Wes Rucker brought up. Whether or not they agreed with it or not didn't matter, but it was always a good talking point. And like I think he was a guy who knew the game and to your point was unapologetic about his opinions and what he was going to say about the game. And like to your other point, I think who he was as a person allowed him to do that, which I think is a good lesson, not just in our career, but in general. Like if you're a good human being, you can like I don't want to say get away with stuff, but like your life becomes a little bit easier in a lot of ways if you're a good person.
One of the things, like the year before I started writing here for the fan side, and it was the worst year of my life. Just quarter life crisis, couldn't figure this
Yeah.
out. And I remember like reading a lot of like SB Nation stuff. I remember reading like what Dog Sports, that website, and he would do like a podcast with Seth Emerson, I think
Mhm.
formerly of the Macon Telegraph, obviously with the Athletic now. And
Yeah.
they would just talk shop. When one guy covers the Georgia beat, one guy covers the Vols beat. They just talk about college football, and it didn't matter like that they didn't agree on anything.
Yeah.
I learned that Wes Rucker, through him, I learned that people in Tennessee love to hoard water. They're very precious of water. Like they'll go out there and they'll bottle it. They don't want you to take their water from them. As a matter of fact, we don't have access to the Tennessee River because of some gerrymandering lines there. Misses the Georgia border by 500 feet. But just like when you have a person who's just a irreplaceable one of themselves, whether that's like a player like Rondale Moore was for Purdue, or like a beat writer like Wes Rucker was for Tennessee. World's not the same, and we can't obviously. It's tough for both of them, just back to back, man.
Yeah, man, it's been a tough weekend for the sport. And like, you know, I don't like I don't mean this to sound if like I'm speaking ill because I'm certainly not, but like for us as college football fans, like that's what Rondale Moore is going to be remembered as a college football legend because like his
Yes.
NFL career didn't pan out the way we had hoped we thought and hoped it would. And
Hmm.
like but like in college football, he's immortal, man. Like
Yeah.
well, I said it earlier, like we're getting old. Like that was 8 years ago, and I remember that Ohio State game in West Lafayette like it was yesterday. I just remember like number. I was like, they can't like Rondell Moore wasn't a household name really at that time either. Like he was having a great season to that point, but he played at Purdue. Like
It-
that's what it is, and like it was like Ohio. Like number four is the best player on the field with Ohio State,
yeah.
and like that was incredible.
It's also obviously so tied to Tyler Trent and everything like that.
Yeah, 100%.
Sophomore at Purdue who had leukemia, just and he just
Mhm.
picked. He'd be like, "Yeah, we're going to beat Ohio State this time," and they did.
It was badass, man. It was
It was it,
badass.
it was badass. And this was episode 253 of False Start. You can follow me, John Buhler, on Twitter or the X at Buhler118. You can follow Cody Williams at the Sizzle20. You can follow the show at CFB False Start. Like, rate, listen, subscribe, review on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere there's podcasts. Give us a 5-star review. We only remembered 4 people. If we had to remember 5 people, we're gonna remember you, the starters, because you guys are important.
100%. Yeah, we're all important here. We did remember six though, I think.
Did we? Yeah, we did.
Wes and Rondell. Yeah.
There we yeah.
But
It
if you
was a
can leave us a
six.
6-star, go ahead and do that too.
I can't do math right now, man. It's
This is not, as we've said from day one, this is not a math podcast.
and I am no good before 11 a.m.
That's right.
because this is false start.